And very good evening to you all, and welcome to Ox Sports Unleashed, another episode of Oxfordshire's favourite sports show. And after last week's amateurs, you've got two pros in the chair this week, two completely different presenters, the locksmith and yours truly, Kdog. The reason for that, we will just say best wishes to Darryl Woods, who unfortunately ended up in A&E yesterday. He's okay, so don't start worrying. He's just decided he wanted a night off, so using the excuse that he was in A&E for about 12 hours. But a bit like watching one of his batting performances, batting for 12 hours and getting nowhere, essentially, which is pretty much it with Woodsy. But seriously, Woodsy, get well soon. We'll keep the seat warm for you, and we'll hopefully see you next week. So yeah, thank you again for joining us from your. I'm going to say what Woodsy says, from your bathrooms, your living rooms, your jacuzzis, your bedrooms, your garden sheds for Ox Sports Unleashed. It's another week of sporting action, and we're going to be bringing an awful lot this evening, all our normal features, so Oxford City, of course, and all the coverage from all the non-league football from step 2 down to step 6, the result sequence at the end, and a little bit of cricket. I know we're in November, but we've got some cricket news to bring you, as well as ice hockey, a bit of triathlon, you name it, we've got it actually this evening, and looking forward to bringing this to you again this evening, Patrick.
Yes, and as always, start with Oxford City, and in recent weeks have kind of got to grips with their season a bit. One defeat in 7 under Ross Jenkins after his return, and it was a tough test this weekend against a side who City played in the FA Cup last year with 2 very tough games in Scarborough Athletic, who made the long trip down to Oxfordshire. So here are the highlights from that game, and we've got an interview with Ross Jenkins afterwards.
Goals in pretty much the first minute, and then the last minute. A hectic game, battle, whatever you want to call it, but in the end a 1-1 draw against Scarborough. And what are your thoughts on it?
Disappointing start, really disappointing to concede in, I think it was a minute 45. Really sloppy play from us, not strong enough from the throw, and that really set the tone for the first couple of minutes for them. I would say we sort of reset after that, but I thought first half we were slightly off it. We addressed that in half time. We needed to win the midfield battle, and I don't think we were. They're very good at what they do, and they made it a real battle today. But I would say second half we stood up to that. We introduced Corey into the team, second half, coming back from injury, and I thought he affected him. So attitude and desire to get back into a game 100%, but we can't give goals away like that because that's poor.
There you go, that's Ross Jenkins reflecting on what I think was a pretty good draw actually against a decent side in Scarborough Athletic. As you mentioned, Patrick, last year they had 2 incredibly tough FA Cup games against them. I think home and away supporters probably both went away satisfied with the draw. I think it was a fair result, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah. Just Never felt like the goal was going to come though, did it?
It didn't. It didn't. It was frustrating waiting, but it was a decent goal. Not one of Zach's best goals. I said to him afterwards, it was a decent goal, but didn't beat his worldie from earlier in the season.
No.
But
it's amazing the power he got behind.
It
that,
was.
It?
He was on his backside.
Wasn't he? Had a bit of a record against late goals against Scarborough.
Absolutely, yeah. Scarborough. I saw the Scarborough defenders sort of collapsing in the box. Couldn't believe it. So I think they're probably less happy than City were with that point.
1 defeat in 8 now as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good start.
Really turned it around as Ross, and long may it continue, because it's really good to see Oxford slowly, very slowly moving up the table. Okay, we're now going to bring you our regular feature, Lock, Lyon and Ryde, Mary Mungo and Midge, which I'm sure we've probably used that one before, and obviously Patrick's going to teleport himself into another studio for Lock, Lyon and Ryde, and go through all the other football action from steps 2 down to step 6 over the last weekend.
Okay, welcome back, Paul. So let's start our look back at last week's local football with a very busy week for Oxford United that ended with a 1-0 defeat away at Watford on Friday night, Paul. Thankfully, most of the championship results on Sunday went in Oxford's favour, but it's still very tight in the lower half of the championship. Do you think Oxford United will still stay up, Paul?
My thoughts at the start of the season were it's going to be tough for them to keep out of the bottom 3, and when they started off so well early in the season, I thought, okay, maybe that they'll be okay, but it's pretty ominous, isn't it, when they start to sort of move down the table. And whilst they're not very far from the top half, they're also really near to the bottom. It's like you say, it's really tight in there, and they need to get a couple of wins to get themselves away from that bottom, because I can see the teams below them picking up points, and it's going to be a tough season for United now. And if they can finish 4th and bottom, I'm sure they'll be happy with that.
All right, but talking of staying up, Paul, Oxford City bagged another point at home last Saturday. Do you think they're going to stay in the National League North?
It was a dreadful start, wasn't it, on Saturday, to go down so early in the game. It's whatever Ross said to the team before the game started. It's like, well, they weren't banking on losing a goal so early, but to be fair to City, worked really hard and didn't give up. And that's typical of Ross Jenkins' team, to keep going to the end. And they got the late equaliser, which was really good. And Scarborough's always a tough game, isn't it? Remember last season we had 2 really tough games against them. And I think they're a much bigger club than City, aren't they? So I think Ross settled for a draw. And I think we've seen improvement in the last few weeks, not leaking so many goals, getting points on the board. And I think they'll gradually move up towards the mid-table. They should be fine.
All right, now, Patrick, you were there reporting on the Oxford City game for the National Non-League paper. The headline, Macca's Cracker saves the Hoots. How good was Zach McEachran's equalising goal, Patrick?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say before anything, I don't know, I'd never send in these headlines, and there's twice already the Non-League paper called him Macca, and I've never heard anyone call him Macca before. But yeah, I mean, he deserves the plaudits, and I mean, he's all of a sudden starting to look back in the form that he did in the promotion season a couple of years ago. I mean, I don't think anyone could say that he quite hit the heights last year, did he, Zach McEachran? So, yeah, it was it's an underrated goal, I think, really, because it was cut back to him, and he wasn't kind of in the perfect position to take the shot, so he kind of bent his body round it and somehow got ridiculous power on it, really, to fire it into the top corner. So, yeah, it was a good goal, but even better when it's in the 95th minute.
So the Oxford City game ended Oxford City 1, Scarborough 1, and it was the same scoreline for Banbury United, Patrick.
Yeah, they had a trip to Bishop Stortford, actually, which was a National League North relegation game from last year. They both played each other in that division. Banbury went down 1-0 quite early on, actually, inside the opening 10 minutes, but your Nandwi Afutu scored on about the half hour, which saw the spoils shared there. We can hear from Simon Holyhead after the game. He wasn't particularly pleased with how his side started, but was pleased with how they reacted later in the game. So here he is speaking to Puritan Radio's Dave England at full time.
I thought second half we showed a real reaction up until they scored. I didn't feel put enough pressure on the ball. Some of our passes were quite sloppy. and it wasn't anywhere near the standards that we've seen. I felt after we scored for the rest of the first half, we assumed far more control in the game, and at half time the players themselves said that we can go another level here.
All right, so next up, Didcot Town. And Paul, last week, or the week before last, I should say, the Railmen fought out a 3-3 draw all the way down at Tiverton, a long old trip, long old trip, I should say, to battle for a hard-fought point. So you'd thought that with home advantage on Saturday, Jamie's Heapy's team could get a win, but it just wasn't Didcot's day, was it, last Saturday?
Well, what a game. 5-3 they lost, and 8-goal thriller. If you're not very happy being on the wrong end of that one, but it's tough, isn't it? There's a lot of travelling to do in that division. I think Tiverton's one of the shorter trips. Is it Mousehole is the place they have to go to, which is even further down? They certainly have a lot of travelling to do. Yes, it's going to be a tough season for Didcot because it is a difficult division, but they're sort of lower mid-table at the moment. I think they'll be okay. Letting in five goals at home is never on the plan, is it?
No, and I think that because we haven't heard from Jamie Heapy, he's probably still sort of letting off steam. Part-time players, Paul, you know all about that with Oxford City and, of course, now with Whitney Town. Does that make it even more difficult for any manager at non-league level to get a consistent side together?
Well, separation is difficult, isn't it? And if you're training in midweek and you've got work to do before you come training, that's obviously going to affect people, especially if they have to travel. And it's you never really know what sort of condition your players are going to turn up in. I mean, a lot of these footballers are, what are they, bricklayers, hod carriers, plasterers. Some of them have quite physical jobs in the day, and then they've got to play football in the evening, and it is tough. And you don't get enough time really with the players to get them playing the way you want. And even with Oxford City last season, where we did go full time, we still had some of the players on a part-time contract because they've always been part-time players, and some players have more time than others. So it's always tough. And imagine travelling on a match day to somewhere like Tiverton Town or Mousehole when you've got a whole day of travelling to do, and you've got a day job as well.
Yeah, it's tough. Well, thanks a lot, Paul. Now, Patrick Lock, are you sitting comfortably, sir?
Always, Colin.
Well, in that case, then, please we take us through the rest of last weekend's results.
Yeah, and we the rest of the roundup start with Tame, and they've had a fine start to the season, and that continued. They made it 5 wins and 6 with a 2-1 win over Northwood at home. Got off to a quick start actually. Braden Daniel, who's on loan from Oxford City, scored in just the second minute actually with a close range finish. And then on about 20 minutes, Curtis Brown made the most of some slack defending, I think you'd have to say, to make it 2-0. Northwood did get one back in the second half, but Tame were able to hold on to victory. A victory actually that sees them now level on points with Welwyn Garden City, who are in the playoff position. So still a tough league there, trying to get into those playoff places, but taking a step into trying to close that gap. Elsewhere in the Southern League Division 1 Central, not much to report, unfortunately. Kidlington were beaten. They lost 3-2 away at Stotfold. 2 Charlie Bacon goals weren't enough there to see them take anything back from there. Well, Northley had a very tough day in the office. They lost 6-2 at home to Hadley to see them still bottom of the league. Milton United were Oxfordshire's last standing participants in the FA Vars this season. They were agonisingly eliminated on penalties, though, after a 1-1 draw away at Downton after normal time, but the home side progressed after winning 5-3 on penalties. We can hear from Christian Lawrence, the Milton manager. Here's what he said to their media team at full time.
The Pens was tough. I think the game probably warranted a draw. It just hurts. I think it hurts for the boys. I think massively. I think the boys did their bits, but we missed Joycey. We massively missed having that 9, and Cam was brilliant, but he wasn't able to play his game. They score a lucky goal through the bounce, and we changed it at half time. We changed our shape, and that's from the boys as well. So as a team together, we made some sacrifices, and we changed the team around. And we looked the better team second half, scored straight away. Probably didn't quite push on. once we scored. And then it was just a battle. Both teams wanted it. It could have gone either way. And I do think a draw was probably the right thing, but yeah, it hurts.
Elsewhere in Step 5 and Wallingford and Crowmarsh, they were victorious in the combined counties. They beat Hollyport 2-0 away from home. Aidan Higgs scored in the first half, or Callum Young added a second just 10 minutes before the end to give them a win in that division. Elsewhere, Ardley were held to a 1-1 draw away at Broadfield United, again in the combined counties, while Easington Sports were beaten 3-1 at home to Histon in the United Counties League. And a weird one there, actually, that the Easington seems to be playing Histon again this coming weekend away from home. So seems to be playing Histon twice in 2 weeks in the league, which is a bit of a strange one, but I'm sure there's probably some reasoning behind that. So finally looking at Step 6, Wanchester Town came from an early goal down to win 6-1 away at Newton Town. 4 goals came in the second half. Braces from Callum Crook and Luke Ballard did most of the damage. With Steve Robertson and Lewis Reeve got the other 2 goals there. So that's a big win for them in Hellenic Division 1. Otherwise, it wasn't a great day for the other teams in that division. Kidlington Reserves, they got a point with a 1-1 draw against Bewdley Town. But otherwise, Casterton, Clanfield and Abingdon United are all beaten in that division. So looking to Sunday's fixtures, Oxford United women were beaten 2-0 at home to table toppers #United in the Women's National League South. Abingdon United, however, were big 4-0 winners over Southampton women. I'm afraid, Colin, not a good day, not a good weekend for Southampton in general. So that was in the Women's National League Division 1 Southwest. Molly Dyer scored twice on her debut, actually. We can hear from what interim manager Sam Froud said after the game.
Massive for the progression we're making at the moment as a club and as a team. I think the girls have stuck together through a real tough period the last 6 to 8 weeks where results haven't quite gone our way. But then over the last 2-3 weeks we've started to see those glimpses in games where we should probably take away more than what we've potentially deserved. And today I just thought we were class from minute 1 to minute 93. I couldn't have asked for any more from the girls, to be fair. When you look at results and you see, win by a large margin, and you see that you conceded 1 goal, it shows that you may be a little bit complacent during the game. But I think today we controlled it from minute 1 to minute 90, and the clean sheet is a result of that. And I think really impressed with the fact that even the players that came on to finish the game off for us stuck with the right beliefs and stuck with the way that they need to go to then come away with a clean sheet, which is thoroughly deserved.
And just to wrap up, and it wasn't a good day for Oxford City's women either, actually. They were beaten 4-2 against Sholing in the Southern Region Women's Football League. That's what happened over the weekend, Colin, and back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick and Paul Lyon. Now back to the main studio for much more Oxford Sport Unleashed.
Thank you, Colin. That's Colin and Patrick and Paul Lyon, or as I like to call them, Huey, Dewey and Louie. With this week's Lock, Lyon and Ryde. And where else do you get such a comprehensive review of all the local football with all the footage and interviews that we have? Brilliant stuff. And it's thanks to the clubs, actually. It's thanks to the clubs that produce all this content, allowing us to share it with you all and bringing the best of grassroots football into your living rooms. And before we move on to the next little feature, just a reminder that if you want anything featured on Ox Sports Unleashed, you can email us anytime at oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com. That's oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com. That's whether you want to contribute something to us, or if you want to be a contributor yourself, if you want to maybe sit where Patrick and me are, or maybe just keep Darryl off camera, which would be a real bonus to do that. You could do that. You could contact us, and we'll be very, very happy to welcome you. We've already welcomed this year Blake Bint, who's been fantastic. There's lots of opportunities again, so please get in touch with us. oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com.
Yes, and for now we'll stay with football and some more Saturday footage. Obviously we've been following Whitney Town quite a lot in the last year or so from their return. Obviously they've had a couple of draws in the last couple of weeks, and they returned to Oxfordshire Senior League Division 2 action on Saturday. They welcomed Hornton to the Whitney ATP, and here are the highlights from that game.
Turn out! Ryan, good win today, mate. The gaffer last week asked for a reaction from the draw. Your thought on how today?
I thought it was really good. I think we retained possession really well, probably the best we have all season. Tactically and from a structure point of view, really, really good, really solid. I think we were really hard to break down. Defensively, really good, and yeah, we took our chances really, really well. Much better than last week.
There you go, that's the Whitney Town captain, Ryan Oliver, reflecting on that really good 3-0 win against Hornton. Whitney up to second in the Oxfordshire Senior League Division 2. And it's very early days for Whitney, but as we saw with Mark White over at Dorking Wanderers, they started right at the bottom and look where they got to. So you never know what could happen, actually. And good luck to Whitney for the remainder of the season. We'll bring you lots of coverage of them during the season. Right, I know we're in November and it's going to snow next week, but we are going to change to red ball cricket now, and specifically a young man from Oxfordshire who came through the Oxfordshire cricket pathway, James Coles. We've mentioned and spoken about James a number of times over the last couple of series of Oxsports Unleashed. Well, James has actually been called up to play for the England Lions on a tour down in South Africa. He travels away next week. England Lions one step away from playing for England, a very talented player. Darryl, who coached him a lot, so despite that, he's a good player. Darryl Woods caught up with Colesy this week, looking ahead to his tour coming up in South Africa.
Yeah, so thanks to Kdog for that introduction, and as he's alluded to, an exclusive interview with Sussex and England Lions player James Coles. Welcome, Colesy. How are you doing?
Yeah, very good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, very well, thank you. We were in Rhodes at the same time just recently. Colesy, how was your holiday? Was it good to just get away from cricket for a few days?
Yeah, it was so nice. Been quite a long season, so it's nice to have a little break.
And has that been no training at all, or are you now back in training full swing?
Yeah, I've started back this week. I had a little bit of time off, did a little bit while I was on holiday in Turkey with my family, but yeah, just got started again.
Really good. How's that looking at the moment? Is it fitness and one or two nets, or is it a little bit more than that?
Yeah, it's well, I guess I've had quite a expansive, or whatever you want to call it, month, so I'm trying to pour it back in a little bit. So it's been quite an intense week, I guess, like day to day, looking at a gym session, bit of running and a bike session, so it's been quite full on, but it's very much needed at the minute. but yeah, and then had my first bowl today, which was good at Tom Alsop, just to have a little bit of white ball bowling. But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, was it coming out all right?
Oh, just about. He was whacking them as he always does. So, and indoors, not offering much spin, so not much more to say.
It's quite tricky that actually, isn't it? When it's not offering anything, it's just how you can combat anybody going after you, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it was good.
Good. Obviously, really successful season for Sussex, winning the division. What was that like? Was that always the intention? I assume it was, but were there any stage, during the season where, things had to change, or what was the sort of recipe that you wanted to push on to get that division championship?
I guess since Fabi came in as head coach, we've always tried to change our mindset away from like hoping to win to more expecting to win. And I reckon 3-4 games into the season, we were all just expecting to win. Like, well, it was that early on, but my turning point where I realised that this is actually where we're at it as a group was, I was talking to Bertie Foreman, I was sharing a room with in was it Bristol when he made his debut, and we were talking about how the day's play had gone, and we bowled first on a pitch offering a bit but not a load, and we still managed to bowl Gloucester out for 100 and something, albeit they'd obviously been on the lash all weekend because they'd won the Vitality Blast. But no, it was still so impressive that I was just going into that game knowing we'd bowl them out or we'd score 300, and then we'd do. And then put them in a deficit. And it happened for the last 4 games of the year where we were putting teams in a deficit and then just winning by either an innings or by a considerable margin. It was at that point where I realised that we're in such a good spot.
Yeah, and contributions throughout the season from yourself with bat and ball. Were you happy with your season generally with both disciplines, or
I wanted more Champo runs. Like, if you take away the 100 I scored at the last game, like I hadn't scored 100 all year, and I'd thrown away quite a few chances and opportunities to score some hundreds. So in reflection, I said that I need to cut out the soft dismissals and stuff like that for next year, especially going into Div 1, because I presume I'll be got out a bit more than I was this year rather than me getting myself out. So I need to cash in when possible. But with the ball, I was happy at the start. It came out well. Just bowled in tricky periods sometimes, but no, I was happy. And then white ball, I was over the moon. I wasn't really expecting to go in to even play this year. So to have the year I did, I guess, I think I was the only person to score 300 runs and take 20 wickets in the whole comp. So that was a nice achievement. But other than that, I was happy with my year. And we won. So, and it's our most successful season in however many years. So chuffed.
No, absolutely. I was going to say, come on to the pitches that you played on actually in the championship for spin. Is it becoming better for spinners in this country, or is it still a real sort of hard graft, really?
I definitely say, like, the stats allude to it being more spin friendly. Like, I think there was 3 spinners taking more than 40 wickets this year, or maybe even more. I could be wrong, but there seemed to be a lot more spinners taking wickets. But I think the introduction to there's more Kookaburra rounds and stuff like that. There's a lot of things that have changed. So more games with the Kookaburra ball, so therefore spinners are going to be bowling more. So that might be a reason why that trend's happening. But I guess from our perspective, we've tried to produce more spinning wickets or wickets that spin later on in the game, just because we got Jack Carson and myself, and that proved that we should be doing that because Jack took 50 wickets this year. So we'll definitely be doing that going forward because he's our strike bowler. So but yeah, I think pitches are maybe changing slightly, but I just think spinners are probably bowling a bit more.
Yeah, that which is really good. Just you alluded there the change of ball actually to the Kookaburra, because there was a stat that came out this week about Leach's averages with the Kookaburra were a lot hard, a lot better than they were with the previous ball. Is there anything massively different? Did you feel it was more beneficial to you with the Kookaburra?
No, I definitely prefer bowling with the Kookaburra. They just fit a lot nicer in the hand. It feels like you can actually give them a decent rip. I guess if you compare using, it's pretty similar to the white Kookaburra, if not the same. So if you feel that and then compare it to a Duke's, Duke's has got pretty hefty seams, hence why they're seam friendly, and then Kookaburras are a bit flatter seams and just they don't hurt as much. They don't dig in. I don't know. They're just so much more comfortable, I'd say.
Yeah, really interesting actually, and I think it's helping our spinners going forward. That's the key fact which we need in our cricket in England, I think. So no, that's good. So what was when you won the championship? What was it like? Was it a good celebration?
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, it was good. Maybe went on a bit longer than it needed to, but it was so good. Made a lot of memories that I won't forget for a while.
I did like the banging of the bats on the floor and the singing afterwards. That's always good fun, isn't it?
Yeah, we had quite a few of those moments this year with the amount of wins we got. So no, it's always nice. Each time's better than the last, that's for sure.
Yeah, it gets louder, does it?
Yeah, especially on the bigger games. No, it's good.
Yeah, brilliant. It's great team spirit, isn't it? The camaraderie there. That's just what you want from a team, isn't it?
No, 100%. Yeah.
Brilliant. So you got into the Vitality Blast semi-finals as well. So again, decent season in that respect. Coming across the six other Oxfordshire boys, and obviously Harrison Ward played for Sussex as well. So it was a really good, really proud moment for Oxfordshire cricket at the Vitality Blast finals day.
No, yeah, it was. Every time we play Gloucester, me and Mordy always sit there and try and name an 11 we could produce of professional cricketers, and it's always good because there's someone there's more than 11, I reckon now. So it's really impressive, and I guess it just shows how impressive the system at Oxfordshire is, producing so many. So yeah, I guess credit to them for what they've done through the years.
Are you still in contact with Alan Duncan? Is he still doing a little bit of coaching with you?
Yeah, no, I speak to him quite a lot, pretty much after every game, about obviously how it's gone and stuff like that. And then we always catch up when he's down here. But now I had a little lull during the season in Red Bull, so I messaged him and we had a hit together again, which was nice just to kind of go back and I guess you always see it on the news of Harry Brooks done this with his old coach and it's revolutionised him and stuff like that. And Kevin Peterson did it, and it is true. Like it does help so much. Just that familiar set of eyes that they kind of know your game inside and out. But yeah, man, he's been class.
Yeah, it's having that relationship, isn't it? And it's almost like a comfort zone in some respect, isn't it? But to go back to that, but to help that confidence moving forward.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, that's what he's very good for. He knows my moods, I guess, when I want to be spoken to and when not. And I guess that's quite rare in coaches. So no, it's good.
And obviously you got into the 100. And what were your experiences there? I know you got a wicket and you actually bowled the first over, I remember, and took a wicket in those first 5. What was that like, getting involved in that?
Oh, it was surreal. Well, as I said earlier, I wasn't even expecting to play T20 cricket this year, and then I go and get picked in the 100. So I took every moment as it came. But I mean, if someone said that was going to happen at the start of the year, I would have been pretty surprised. But no, it was amazing. There's so many very, very good cricketers in that dressing room that I got to spend time with and get to know on a personal level. So that was really good, and just watching the way that all the world-class players go about their practice was really eye-opening, and I guess the amount of purpose they put into everything they do, and it shows why they're so good.
Is there anyone in particular that you really got on well with and still in contact with?
To be fair, not in contact with loads. I got on well with Al Davies, Joe Weatherly, Lewis Deploy, all of those lads. We got on quite well, so that was nice. But yeah, no, they were all really nice. So
yeah, Joe Weatherly's a really nice guy, isn't he? He was one of my last players, actually, and I remember. So he came across really, really well then. That's good. I mean, great experience, and you were always in the team as well, weren't you? You didn't miss a game.
Yeah, I think I missed two. When we got Andre Fletcher in as a replacement, then he took my spot, and then I came back in for the. I don't know if I came in again. No, I came in a game before we qualified for the semis, for the eliminators. Sorry, and then I played through to the final, which is nice. And that's I really got on with Stephen Fleming, and I guess he backed me to the hills, which was really nice. And I owe him quite a bit for that.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear as well. So obviously this is coming into nicely your tour for the winter, certainly from November to December with England Lions, and looking forward to that, obviously.
Yeah, no, it's amazing to get selected again for my second year in a row for this training camp. So no, I can't wait. And Cape Town's a place I really like going to, so it just makes it even better.
Yeah, sounds really good. What experiences can you take with you from your last year? We didn't have that opportunity to catch up with you. We interviewed you before you went out to the UAE, but we didn't interview on your return. But what experiences can you bring now to this tour?
I think just the openness to learn and try things, like especially this current regime of English cricket. Like, I think you have to go in with such an open mind, and they're not ones that really are for being closed-minded and think you've completed it kind of thing. So I guess that's what I'm going to be going in, training hard, just going in with a pretty open mind, open to try stuff, even if it's not what I'm used to.
And you mentioned that certain Freddie Flintoff was one of the coaches there last year, obviously head coach this time. You've had a few conversations with him. How's that going? How's he coming?
No, really good. He's a really lovely man. I really enjoyed him when we were in Abu Dhabi last year, so looking forward to working with him again. He was actually, I can't speak highly enough of him. He was really complimentary and pumped me up and all of that stuff that a good coach does. So really looking forward to work with him again.
He's quite an inspirational character, that is for sure. I'm looking forward to actually taking on Bullseye as well, a new television program. It takes me back to my youth, so I'm quite looking forward to seeing Freddie doing a little bit of bully. So that would be quite good. So you obviously got a few people on the tour. Henry Crocombe is there, your colleague from Sussex, and there's a certain Josh Hull on this tour as well. It's going to be quite interesting.
Yeah, no, I've faced him down the hill at Hove this year, and I thought, he can ramp it up when he wants to, I'm sure. So that'll be exciting to face him. Guess test match bowler, so get the opportunity to face him, and then hopefully then just learn and see how it is. I guess moments like that, which I experienced last year in Abu Dhabi, I found last year in pre-season facing Jofra with Sussex. I guess sometimes it just takes little moments like that where you're facing someone that you think you might be slightly out of depth to, but then you play them fine, and then you start to build this confidence, and you're like, okay, I can compete. I remember when I played against Notts when I think I was 17, 18. It was a green seamer, James Pattinson's bowling. And he set this short ball plan, and it was speed of light. He was really angry, bowling some rapid bounces. And I faced it. I didn't get loads, but I remember afterwards coming off, and I was like, okay, this is this is actually, I can do this kind of thing. And that was probably the turning point in my career.
It's really interesting. Has Joffre been a help to you? There, quite interesting to face him, obviously.
Yeah, he just loves trying to hit you in the head. He finds that more fun than ripping your poles out. So I guess that's what makes him such a special bowler. But no, he was amazing during the 100. Made me feel really welcome, because going into a new group would have been quite easy for him to just kind of leave me alone and stay with his mates kind of thing. But no, he was really kind, and I get on with him well.
Well, we wish you, everybody from Oxsports Unleashed wishes you all the very best for the tour and obviously beyond. I think it's an exciting time for you, Colsey. I think there's a lot more to come from you in 2025, and we'll watch it with interest, and hopefully we'll get you back on at some point, perhaps during the season or before the season or after the season, so we can have an update on everything you've done and achieved. So well done today. I mean, there's lots of things that happen for you this year. Let's hope it continues next year. For now, Colsey, thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Woodsy. Just as we thought we were safe to not have Woodsy on the show tonight, he comes with a 15-minute interview, but a brilliant interview with James Coles there, and good luck to James for the England Lions. We've said this before, we'll say it again. We're very, very proud of all our stars, actually, but James Coles really did have a cracking season, and he's been rewarded with a call-up to the England Lions, which is absolutely fantastic news, and we'll definitely be watching that with some interest. Got some more news on cricket as well with Lindsay Smith. She's also featured on our channel a few times. Well, she has just signed a new contract with Hampshire for another year, which is fantastic news. So congratulations to Lindsay. And Lindsay has also been called into an England squad, the England T20 squad, who travel down to South Africa. They may be on their way pretty much now, actually, because they've got a 3-match series against South Africa, the 24th, the 27th and the 30th of November, and Lindsay Smith will be flying the flag for Oxfordshire in the England women's team. So it just goes to show, Patrick, doesn't it, in this little county of ours, we do have some cracking sports stars, and we will continue to follow all the exploits of our heroes across all sports over the rest of this year.
Yeah, it's been a good year, especially for the Oxfordshire cricketers, and they with the Gloucestershire lads winning the Blast as well, isn't it? So,
absolutely, yeah, brilliant stuff.
Yes, so we changed sports again, and we have a quick look at the ice hockey with Oxford City Stars, and they did play at the weekend. They played Streatham Redhawks, and then Darryl likes to mention every week about the great names you get in ice hockey.
Yep.
Wasn't a good day for them, unfortunately. Losing 15-1 to Streatham Redhawks. Kobe getting the one for the Stars there.
It was the best goal. It was the best goal.
Definitely, yeah, definitely say that. So there's some games coming up this weekend. The City Stars, they face Milton Keynes Thunder, face off at 7 o'clock there. And the Midnight Stars, they face Bristol Huskies, which is a cup match with a 4 o'clock face off there, yeah. Every name, isn't there? Every name's great.
Brilliant. What if there's any penguins? I'm sure there will be somewhere.
Well, I'm sure we'll keep doing this week after week, and it'll eventually pop up somewhere, won't they?
Yeah.
And then finally, there's another City Stars game against the Solent Devils with a face-off at 6:45, and all the fixtures are up on the screen at the moment.
There you go. So more ice hockey, and as we've said a few times, it's really worth getting down to Ox Pens because it's a cracking entertainment. Yeah, there's a lot of goals, albeit a lot of them going against City Stars at the moment, but it is great entertainment, and you can get tickets by visiting their website, oxfordcitystars.com. We're going to change sports again now, and a sport we haven't mentioned previously on the channel, and that is triathlon, because we've got a 21-year-old triathlete, Ben Cumberland from Wantage, where he finished the highest Brit in the recent Under-23 World Championships. He finished in 11th place, and we've got an interview with Ben in the coming weeks with Blake, and we'll be looking forward to hearing that. His last race of the 2024 season is this weekend. It's a university national race. Best of luck in that one, Ben, and we really look forward to hearing from him in the coming weeks. And triathlon's something that it's sort of probably has passed me by, I would say. Along with all the
I
other
think it's got challenge Kdog.
I was going to say, I can swim, I can swim, I can cycle, I can amble along, so maybe I would be absolutely exhausted, of course, if we did that. But we're going to bring you some midweek football action in a moment, but just before we do that, Chinner Rugby are in action tomorrow evening. Now, this is a bit of a controversy that has been national reported, actually. So, I said actually then. Right, you aren't they? So Chinner and Cambridge are both in the Championship, and they were excluded from the Premiership Cup, which is the cup competition which involves all the top sides in the Premier League. It was decided for whatever reason that they were going to be excluded from the competition, and both Chinner and Cambridge were pretty furious about that, and rightly so, because they'd gone into the Championship and they probably deserved their moment in the sun. So what they've done, brilliant initiative this, they have organised the Not the Prem Cup over 2 legs, and the first leg of that is tomorrow at Kingsley Road down in Chinner. It's going to be a cracking evening. Myself, I'm going to be heading down there with Dan Smith, and we'll bring you some action from that next week on the show. And as I say, a brilliant night's entertainment if you want to get down to Chinner. It's normally a stunning atmosphere, a couple of thousand people watching, and it's the Not the Prem Cup, and it's a really good initiative, and hopefully they'll stick something up the Premiership and say, this is what you're missing, because I'm sure it'll be really entertaining.
Great to make the most of a bad situation there.
Absolutely. We'll bring all the rugby results from the weekend at the end of our show, as we always do, but I just wanted to mention 2 rugby results from the weekend, because Banbury had a bit of a field day on Saturday. Their first team in the Regional 1 Midlands League beat Kenilworth, wait for it, 110 points to 10. Quite a few points there. But not to be outdone, their second team thought to hold my beer, and they went up to Bicester, and they ran out winners against Bicester 118-0.
I hope the chairman hasn't got a try bonus on.
I was going to say, if he's got try
money,
bonus, he's got no money left at all. So congratulations to both Banbury teams, and we'll bring you all the rugby results later in the show. Okay, we're going to move on now to the midweek action. We've had some football at the weekend, of course, and we also had quite a lot of action in the week. And we've got some highlights here from Didcot Town's Southern League game. Falmouth Town from Cornwall travelling all the way up to Didcot midweek. It's crazy, it really is. I know that Falmouth were very grateful for the hospitality that Didcot Town showed, and Didcot actually produced a good performance against the Cornishmen, and we've got some highlights of that for you now.
Go again! Load up! Just creep Fred! Harrison! Class! Unlike Tottenham, he's still in trophies. Come on, two trophies in 2 years. Now, Tottenham have won 4 goals. Why not? Keep us calm! Mr. Litton.
There you go, a 3-2 win for Didcot in the Southern League. And note to Wes, if you're watching, you should be because you're one of our producers. Wes, goal of the season contender there, the first Didcot town goal, Jensen Wright. That was a cracking strike from outside the box. So that might challenge Jacob Roddy and Zach McEachran, who knows? But yeah, some really
City
good.
Bias, I still think Zach's got it in the bag.
At the moment, but you never know, you never know. Other results from the week, in midweek, Carterton lost 3-1 to Abingdon United in the Hellenic League. There were some Senior Cup games. The Oxfordshire Senior Cup got underway. Tame United 9, Adderbury Park 1. Banbury United, they beat Henley Town by 2-0, and North Lee picked up a much needed confidence boosting win. They saw off Easington Sports 4-2 in the Senior Cup. Elsewhere in the Combined Counties League Premier Division North, Wallingford and Crowmarsh drew 1-1 with Reading City, and Ardley United booked their place in the third round of the League Challenge Cup with a 3-1 penalty victory at Wokingham Town after a 2-2 draw. Okay, so as promised, we're now going to bring you our results roundup from the weekend and the midweek fixtures that have just gone, and then following that, we'll bring you some updated tables and fixtures for this weekend.
So have it then. That's what's happened over the last week. A few big results there, weren't there?
Yes.
Misread one for a minute and Morton won 10-9 on penalties, and I thought it was over 90 minutes.
What a penalty competition that was.
Yeah, they progressed on that. So just before we wrap up, we'll have a quick look at the tables and then the fixtures. So we'll start at the top as always, the Championship, and Oxford United still 16th after their defeat at Watford on Friday night. A tight game there. National League North and Oxford City, they're still 19th, still picking up points, but it's getting a bit of competition down there with teams picking up points there at the moment. So, but getting a bit tighter there. In the Southern League Premier Central, Didcot Town, Banbury United dropped to 10th in that division following a draw with Bishop Stortford. In the Division 1 Central, Tame United having a good start to the season. They're 6th after their win on Saturday, but more importantly have closed the gap to Welwyn Garden City, so they're just out of the playoffs on goal difference. At the other end of that table though, unfortunately Kidlington and Northley are still in the relegation zone. Kidlington 3rd from bottom and Northley bottom. In Division 1 South, and that win we saw from Didcot Town a minute ago, saw them climb to 9th actually after arresting their poor run of form in recent weeks. And looking at the women's tables after Sunday's games, Oxford United dropped to 3rd in the Women's National League South. Ipswich Town 232 points there.
I just spotted that.
Imagine that's a typo.
I think it was 23 points.
Yes. But yeah, they lost to #United on Sunday, so they've dropped to 3rd. In the Division 1 South West, Abingdon United 9th in that division. And finally, in the Southern Region Women's Football League Premier, Oxford City 2nd in that table, even after their defeat on Sunday.
Okay, we'll now look at the fixtures for the coming weekend. We're not going to be snowed in just yet, although it's going to get cold next week. So on Saturday in the FA Trophy second round, Oxford City enter the competition at this stage, and they're at home to Sporting Calza from Leicestershire in that second round tie. In the Southern League Premier Division Central, Banbury United hosting Stourbridge at the Banbury Plant Hire Community Stadium. Southern League Division 1 South, Didcot Town travelling to Willand Rovers for hopefully another successful game after the good win yesterday. Southern League Division 1 Central's match Hadley versus Tame United postponed. Hadley are involved in the FA Trophy, and I've just noticed that we spelt Southern wrong as well, but hey-ho, it's fine, it's fine. So Southern League Division 1 Central, Kidlington at home to Enfield, and also in Division 1 Central, Northley. Well, they've got a tough game away at Ware. That's going to be another tough one for Northley. Into the women's football, the Women's National League Southern Premier, Ipswich Town hosting Oxford United in Felix. That's a long trip for United on a Sunday. Abingdon United hosting Reading FC Community Trust at North Court Road in Division 1 Southwest of the National League. And in the Southern Regional Women's League, Oxford City are at home to AFC Porchester, and that will be a 2 o'clock kick-off there. And I think with 2 minutes to go before the hour, Woodsy, take note, we just about have finished, and we will wrap up for this evening's show. And thank you very much, everybody, for watching. And we will be bringing you a show next week. We won't necessarily be bringing it live from this studio because it's not available. So we will do our best to bring you all the action from the week. The weekend next week, and please do join us to watch that show. And as I said earlier on in the programme, if you've got any thing that you want to include, any footage or any contribution, please get in touch with us. Email us at oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com. That's oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com. Before we close, have you got anything you wish to add, Patrick, or are we there?
I think it's been pretty good tonight, hasn't it?
It's been
pretty seamless, yeah.
Very professional,
yeah,
I thought.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We might have to let him back next week, though.
I think so, yeah. All joking aside, though, Woodsy, get well soon. We know you spent many, many hours in A&E yesterday watching Four Walls, and we're very glad that all is not too bad and all is well. So that does wrap up Oxsports Unleashed. I'm just looking, it's 1 minute to 9, so we're going to be on the hour. That wraps up the show for this week. Thank you very much for watching. The week that ants stopped play, flying ants stopped play in the cricket in South Africa against India.
You never thought it.
I've seen some very strange things, but yeah, that's a new one on me. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching, and we will look forward to seeing you next week. So from me and from Patrick, goodbye.
Good night.